everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Midweek Mead Geek. I know a big gap has gone between the second and the third episode, but such is life. In
Yeah.
this episode, I welcome Anant Gupta, co-founder of No Label Meadery based in Delhi, Gurgaon. Welcome, Anant.
Thanks for having me, Yogini. Excited to be here today and looking forward to our chat.
Yes. Yes, geeking about mead is not something that we get to do in our day-to-day business life. So this was just an attempt to bring all of us who are players in this field in our country to sort of come together and just do these sessions. I'm hoping that one of the sessions will be where all four of us can come together, because I don't know after you who I'm going to interview. Nobody else is making mead so far in India. I hope many more people start soon.
You know what's been happening over the past couple of months is that at least the last 2 odd months is I've had about 3 or 4 odd people reach out to me over LinkedIn asking, just to have a chat, understand how the meat market works, how the manufacturing end of things works. And interestingly, about three out of the 4 odd people reaching out, about two of them have been from UP. So it's pretty exciting. And the best part is they're all doing interesting stuff. So there's somebody who I was talking to about doing, who's looking to do session meets. Then there's somebody else out there who's now seriously looking to enter the still higher ABV market. So they're looking at a 14-15% ABV still mead
Amazing.
market. So it's exciting to see that, that the market is picking up. There are more and more people who understood about now know about the product and want to enter the space.
Exactly. With regards to wine, somehow only the regions where grapes are grown, wineries are sort of encouraged even by the governments to be set up. But mead has no such restriction. Honey is literally
Absolutely.
collected, can be collected, has a potential to be collected all across the country, and every region will come up with its own unique flavors and aromatics in the honey, which is going to ferment into a very unique mead. And people will get to combine that honey with locally available ingredients. So it is generally a very exciting area for any mead maker to venture into this. And similar to you, even we keep getting queries from people who are enthusiasts and want to have know-how of how to sort of turn this into a business. And that is how actually No Label also started. So do you want to
Yes,
talk
yes,
about that, your background, and
yeah,
how did you
absolutely.
decide to get into this field yourself?
Sure. So before starting No Label, which was sometime in August of 2020, actually July, more like it, my co-founder Vinayak and I, uh, we were doing very, very different things in life. So we both from the same school. We did our, so we left school, went our different ways. I went off to Gujarat to do my law. So I did my BBLLB from there. Came back to Delhi in 2018, and I practiced law for about 2 odd years. I did litigation, so I went before various types of courts, tribunals, High Court, Supreme Court, arbitration tribunals, forums, etc., etc., etc. So 2 years into law, I realized that maybe I'm not cut out for this. So this is not cut out for me. Vinayak and I got started chatting. He was doing consultancy back then with Deloitte, and we were just chatting, and we realized that there's this huge, massive white space in the Indian alcohol market. As consumers, we don't really have a lot of options, especially in the cold side of the liquor store. You've only at that point of time you only had beer, and then there were options in beer. Bira had got that whole craft beer movement to India in 2015. Um, and we really wanted to do something about it. We got tired of drinking beers, and we thought, we'd do something about this. So we drove down to Nashik in August. Sorry, no, in August of 2020. Vinayak and I, during the pandemic, drove down to Nashik to see how the wine industry or the wine space works, and that's when we came across Tirana. I think we visited your facility, Vinayak and I both. We tried your mead. We absolutely fell in love with the whole idea and the concept of the product, with multiple different things, what it brings to the table in terms of flavor, in terms of upskilling oneself, and I'll get to that properly. So I remember we came back after the chat. I remember getting samples from you coming back to Delhi, and trying them out, and that's when we decided that that it is possible to upskill oneself in this, and learn how to ferment. And even before I quit my job, or before while I was practicing, I always liked getting doing things DIY, getting my hands dirty, getting down to the ground and learning and figuring out how this works, and then going ahead and doing it. So this came as a unique opportunity where I realized that I could upskill myself, right? And I think after pestering you a lot, I remember कि योगिनी बताओ कैसे क्या करते हैं क्या क्या नहीं करते हैं.
There's like
I put
every few days, abhi ye ho raha hai fermentation mein, abhi ye ho raha hai fermentation mein. And I do clearly remember your first visit to Sirana also. You guys were like, you came and you looked so comfortable over there. Like it looked like, it could have been your project. You were like, this looks like something that we can do. That look you
yeah.
had in your eyes at the time, which was quite
I
nice.
think thank you, and I think a lot of credit goes to you because I think you were the only one who let me get on top of a tank and then smell what an active fermentation smells like, and I think that smell blew me away. Just
Yeah.
even now, at the winery, I sometimes just go and I'll stand next and I just want to smell this. I just want to smell fermentation happening. It's this sweet smell that a lot of people don't like, but I really enjoy it. It's something weird to
Yeah.
say, but I really enjoy the smell of honey
So I
fermenting.
like how all alcohol is acquired taste, fermentation is an acquired smell. you know like you sort of need to imagine what it is going to become and then like it the way it is right
Yeah.
now,
So I mean,
not
there's
for
been multiple
everyone.
times when people have visited the meadery, and I'm like, guys, let me make you like smell something amazing. This smells so nice, and then go, and make them whiff the airlock, and they'll tell me that, what is this? How are you enjoying this smell? We can't even stand it. But for me, it's just something so sweet. It tells me what the potential is, what it's gonna taste like. But yeah,
From law, which is not at all related to connected to any kind of science, to starting on this journey of becoming a mead maker, uh, you must have faced a lot of challenges because, as far as I know, Vinayak also comes from finance background and he is also not a science person. So I'm curious to know, apart from the phone calls that you made to me to talk about how the batch was going, how was your journey? Like I would like to think that I helped you as much as I could at that time, but वो दिल्ली मुंबई इतना नहीं हो पाता. You know that your taste and your smell sense are very important, and you need to learn either from an experienced person who is getting to taste and smell your brew, or learn it by gathering your own experience. So how was that journey for you? The
the
parameters like temperature, pH, bricks, nitrogen content, like nutrient addition, the schedule of that. How did you like tell us about your entire journey with respect to all these parameters?
Sure. So it started off like, I mean, completely agree with you there. Like the switch from law to fermentation of making mead was very, very. Uh, it was I'd say difficult, but not an unachievable journey. Uh, Especially because I have the mindset that, okay, if it's possible, if somebody is doing it, you can learn it as well. It's not that hard. It's just getting down to it and reading and then working it out or experimenting, and that's pretty much the philosophy or the method and approach that I followed. So the first batch I still remember I had made, um, come back after the Nashik trip, and I blended everything up and put it in fermentation. And at that point of time, I had literally no idea apart from the very basic knowledge that, okay, all that needs to happen for fermentation is take honey, take water, and take yeast and nutrients dalna hota hai. Dosage, what's the dosage? No idea. It's just okay, going online, figuring out somebody's put 1 tablespoon. Okay, put 1 tablespoon there and be done with it. And I had no idea about the concept of temperature, this role that temperature plays. That was my first learning. So uh, I remember the first batch had fermented in 4 odd days, and I messaged you because I had no idea that it would happen this fast. I had no idea that it could go from like 52 gravity points back to zero, like one in 4 days, and that's when okay fermentation happened. But what it's supposed to taste like, what am I really making? So I had no idea about any of that. Okay, we tried it out. That didn't taste good, so went online, tried to figure out what I went, where I went wrong. That's when we learned, okay, uh, temperature plays an important role. So now there was this one new parameter introduced that I was introduced, so that okay, temperature is something that you need to take care of. So then the question or the challenge became, how are we regulating temperature? So then then came the second leg of it. Okay, figuring out okay, if you have to ferment XYZ amount of liters to test out a batch, how do we control the temperature? So, okay, freezer nana padta hai. Freezer to le liya, but the freezer is going to go down to -2 degrees, -3 degrees Celsius. Okay, what's the next step? How do you regulate that? So then again, go online and figure out that how are you regulating temperature of a freezer. So for me, the entire time was just, uh, going online and reading up a lot. So just finding out. I mean, just going online, typing Mead, making Mead PDF, Mead fermentation PDF, and finding the first 10 articles in Google Scholar and going through that and just making notes. Okay, saying, okay, these are the factors that are important. This is how you manage these factors. Um, and then the second thing that really helped me was that on internet we have this beautiful thing called Reddit, where you can find an answer to anything and everything. And even if you can't find an answer to it, you can take your query, your question, no matter how random, how strange it is, go post it out there. If anybody anywhere in the world has an answer for you, they will go up, they will reach out and they will comment or they will help you out with it. So I think Reddit coupled with just Google and constantly reading was something that I was doing on a daily basis. And coupled with that, what I really made sure was that uh, theory is important, yes, but half the time theory doesn't translate into what happens on ground. So you might read that, okay, maintain the pH between this and this and it'll work out, but that might not happen because we're in a different situation, or like we're in different circumstances, or in terms of temperature, height, altitude, etc., etc. So it was important to take that theory that you learned and then apply it to batches, and then seeing what's the result or what the consequence of it is. So, um, just going, learning that, okay, temperature of a particular strain of yeast is great between 16 to 18, but another strain is great between 20 to 25. So you have to, like, unless until you try down, make that batch, figure it out, you're
Absolutely.
not going to really learn a lot. So a lot of
And
learning.
also,
Hmm.
and also what happens is a lot of this information that is available, it comes from forums which are based not in India, which
No,
means
I
these people are
absolutely.
using, yes, with these people are using different honeys, they're using different ingredients, and the way each and every honey ferments out is different.
Absolutely.
Our initial experiments, Ashwini and I, when we were doing experiments with product development, we realized that so many people from US are fermenting acacia honey and making beautiful meads. The acacia honey that is available in India, have you tried fermenting it?
I had, but a very, very long time ago. I ruled it out for commercial.
Mm, yes, exactly. Same thing happened with us. When we fermented acacia honey, it fermented into something that was not palatable at all. Like it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I am happy to know that you had similar experience, but we absolutely ruled out acacia honey as a raw material for meads, at least Indian acacia honey. Because the honey itself, although I think acacia is one of the lightest
Correct.
colored honeys in the remaining world also, and even in India, one of the lightest honeys. The way it ferments, it's just like there is something in it. I don't know what it is, but that happens. So we should totally build up an information bank for honey fermentations using Indian varietal honeys for other people who are trying to become mead makers.
Absolutely. And you know
Yeah.
what you like, absolutely agree with you. And just to add on to what you said about information being there from, let's say, the States or Europe, and then taking that information and applying it here, that was a challenge.
Yeah.
That was when it comes to sourcing just, raw materials fast, especially. I remember trying to figure out where am I going to get fermented from. Just how am I going to ferment it, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, that was also a challenge there. But then again, it's just figuring it out, reading as much as you possibly can, and experimenting as much as you possibly can. So temperature was an issue. pH is something that took me a while to wrap my head around. I remember crying to myself that, yeah, Anant, science ही ले लेते school में, you would have been better off. But I spent 2 days. I remember
No,
just
but
trying to
you are an inspiration to all those people who did not follow science as their education path, but can still come to mead making as their career path. I
and
think you
absolutely
guys are an absolute inspiration to people
no.
like that.
Thank you so much. But I mean, with PH, I mean, I definitely regretted not taking science because that like, obviously you understand PH hota kya hai, metal kaise karte hain, samajh aata hai. But then when you really get down to, okay, how does this work? Why is it so important to me? That's when it just blew, just caused so much confusion and chaos in my mind. That's this concept that took me a while to understand. Then another issue, or I won't really say an issue, but something that I faced early on was um, I I had started making meat in specific gravity point. So SG is what the unit I was dealing with. But then much later I realized India does deal with bricks. So India most because winemakers, all winemakers are using bricks. So then shifting from specific gravity to bricks is something that even if it's a simple calculation, but if you somebody tells me, "Oh, this is 13 bricks, this is 14 bricks," I have no idea what they're talking about. I will quietly open my phone on the side, convert it to gravity. I'm like, oh, now I know
To
what you
convert.
mean. Yeah,
At Sirana, what we do is we start off with bricks, but then
right.
we have found out from our experience that as the fermentation progresses, the because I think the alcohol that gets added to the mix, the bricks sort of starts um, I mean, it does not give you proper result, a proper idea of what the total dissolved sugar actually is. So I think after about half sugar break, Ashwini switches to using specific gravity.
All right, interesting.
So the reason why we start off with doing bricks initially is just to save sample. Like we also started by doing small lab scale experiments, or even though right now we do thousands of liters of mead, कहीं ना कहीं वो एक part दिमाग में it is still there that I don't want to waste a sample unless absolutely necessary.
I agree with you. I agree with you. अगर मेरा बस चलता है ना तो मैं तो I would sanitize all of those.
Sanitize and put it back in the tank. You don't waste that 150 mil of goodness, right? Absolutely, I understand where you're coming from because we do the same thing. I don't know if it is limiting or liberating yet.
I think it's a very inherent, when you start off small scale, it's something that sticks with you, those processes that you formed when you are really, really learning how to do this. That
It sort of
becomes a
becomes
part
your
of
nature to, yeah, exactly. We are
it.
trying to optimize everything to the
And
T.
when
We
you're
are trying to see,
making
okay, how
20
can this be
liters,
done?
yeah, and when you're making
Mm.
20 liters and you know that, okay, this is the start. After this, I need to create so many smaller variations in this 20 liters that even that 150 ml that you take a gravity reading is good enough, over like a fermentation. You'll end up taking about a liter and a half or more sometimes.
And then it was approximately how long did it take for you to reach to a point where you thought, yes, you're now ready to go commercial? Like how much time did it take you to reach there?
So it took us about 6 odd months. Took me about 6 odd months to really say that okay, this is the product that we want to take out commercially. Um,
But
During
you
that,
always knew that you wanted to do low alcohol meats?
yeah, yeah, we wanted to enter the RTD space. That's something we were clear from the start. Yeah, that we wanted to enter the sessionable, the cold side of the Theka.
Right. And if
The
I know correctly, you started off with orange flavored mead, and now you have introduced your second product, which is, I think, passion fruit.
Yes, yes. So the first one, which we like to call the OG, is just basically we just add orange peels in secondary. That will not too much,
Acha.
just a little bit. For the second SKU or the second flavor, which is passion fruit, that is very heavy. Very fruit forward on that note, and but that's also a slightly lower ABV. That's at about 5 odd percent.
Okay. And if I may ask, which honeys are you using for these both meats?
Both of them, the OG is a mix of lychee and multifloral, and passion fruit is lychee all the way.
Lychee all the way.
Lychee
Lovely.
all the
Lychee
way.
is a
Yeah,
beautiful honey
I
to
love.
work with.
I really enjoy working with lychee honey. It has a nice palate to it. Post fermentation gives you a clean, good flavor profile that you can also build on. That's something I really like about it.
I agree. All our four hydromels have four different honeys in them. So
Oh
this one
wow!
is lychee with pomegranate. This one is mustard with blue pea and lavender. Chenin Blanc is multifloral from Himachal with Chenin Blanc. And Jamun has Jamun honey with Jamun fruit. So
Right.
we make it a point to let the honey also be star of the recipe. so that no one flavor is overpowering. So that is something that we are very proud of here at
Yeah,
Central.
that's awesome. So I think I have a very interesting story with jamun honey. I fermented it out, and I think jamun honey confused me the most. I did a nice 19 degree earth fermentation with EC, and it jamun honey gave me very earthy, minty notes, which I was so surprised by because I was like, okay, this does not taste. I tasted the honey. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And once it got fermented, I was like, okay, did I put mint in this? I don't remember putting mint in this. But yeah, which is very shocking, and it really opened up my eyes to what really fermentation can get to the table.
So jamun honey is one of my most favorite honeys to ferment, and the Yule spice has 100% jamun honey in it,
All
and
right,
it's like the only honey which after fermentation retains its original character and becomes more complex on top of it. That I have found has been jamun honey for us.
yeah.
So Anand, you have two products in the market now, and I would love to know what kind of response are you getting? Who are these products targeted to? Like for who are you making these products for? What is your TG?
Right. So primarily our TG is the millennial and the Gen Z consumer, those especially those who are looking and going out and trying alcohol for the first time. We really want to at board beverages and at no label, we're really looking for the whole hypothesis and the concept and the companies to make someone's drinking experience pleasurable, more enjoyable and flavorful. So therefore our product currently the no label series is more focused towards the first time consumers, those who just entering the market. They're looking for something flavorful out there. They're moving from Coke, sodas, juices into the alcohol space, and beer is not really a pleasant drinking experience in terms of just beer is an acquired taste.
Initially, yes,
It is an
right.
acquired taste. Today, after years of drinking, I like a beer. I'd like a lager. I'd like a with beer. But when you start off drinking, I remember when I started off drinking, I did not enjoy beer. So we're focusing towards that audience. Also, while we do primarily look after this audience or look to tap this audience, there are also multiple smaller consumer buckets or consumers who've come to us. So, for example, grandmothers love us, grandmothers, grandparents love us, which is very surprising, right? But it's awesome. Because they like it, they say that it's
Um,
great. It doesn't get
when
them to
we
board.
talk about when we talk about Gen Z more than millennials, a word that is often associated with the the generation Z is that the level of wokeness is much higher. So from that angle, I wanted to ask you how important is talking about sustainability in your marketing plan of
So,
mead as a category.
so sustainability is
Hmm.
definitely an important point for us. However, it's something that from a product point of view, yes, meat is sustainable, but as a company, we'd like to go beyond and be a lot more sustainable than we are currently speaking. So it is important to educate people that why meat is a more sustainable product. But when it comes to mass consumption, I don't think the mass of India is yet or is yet seeing sustainability as a key factor while making that purchase.
How important was the fact that mead is most sustainable to you when you chose to start making mead? Was it a
So,
factor at all
so
that
it
it is
was a
sustainable?
yeah, so it was a factor, but I wouldn't say it was the primary or the only factor. It was something that we did take into account that you can come up with different flavors in it. You're not barred by just that base flavor of like for example in wine coolers or in wine you really have a very strong base of wine that it carries through with it, right? And then
Right.
people obviously take out flavors in there, but it still carries with it this wine um, base to it. But I think that was one of the most exciting factors for choosing mead for us.
That is lovely. We have a hashtag mead is for everyone. Like if you don't like this, you might like this. If you don't like this, you might like that. So there will be one mead that you will definitely like. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता that there is no mead on this planet
Yeah.
that you will like, not like. Now tell me, how are your meads being received in your markets currently?
So as of now, we're available for sale in Delhi and Gurgaon across both wine shops or tekas, as we like to call them here, and restaurants. So the response so far has been really, really great and exciting because people have uh, people seem to enjoy the product. We see repeat buyers. We now have that restaurants as well as wine shops where we know, okay, this is where our consumer base is. This is where people are coming and picking us up again and again and again, and they're actually increasing. So they're going from, the curious consumer is now turning into a regular consumer. We're getting that data in that, okay, somebody comes, buys the first time. Okay, yeah, they come back, they buy more. It's not as if it's sitting at a base level. And we've seen, or we've even had consumers reach out to us and say, that I tried this at a friend's place or at a wine shop once, and now I buy a case of this a week. So the response has been great.
That was a perfectly balanced geeky yet non-geeky content wala episode this time with you, Anant. Thank you for your time. I had a gala time understanding how you went from being a lawyer to a mead maker, meadery owner. And thank you very much for your time.
No, thanks for having me, Yogini. This was a lovely conversation. Always happy to talk meat and talk shop, especially with somebody who's really, really helped us out in our entire journey. So yeah, thank you once again for having me here. Thank you.